What's up, guys? So today I wanted to talk about something that's kind of been on my mind that has me a little bit worried about sort of the future of Dragon Ball FighterZ. So in case you missed it, recently the list of games for the EVO tournament, the world's largest fighting game tournament, which is taking place in August, the list of games was released and registration was opened, and they've actually released a list of sort of which games have the highest registration numbers so far. So here's the list right here from Twitter, and you can see here 8th out of 9th is Dragon Ball FighterZ, which is very, very low. And I know what you're probably saying, like, registration hasn't been open that long. I'm sure everything is going to change as more people register closer to the event. But if we look at last year's numbers, it seems like the early registration numbers, so here is last year's from March, the order pretty much is maintained when we cut over to the final numbers from shortly before the tournament. So, like, just some slight rearranging, like Melee went ahead of Smash for Wii U at the very end. But for the most part, it seems like the early registration numbers are kind of a semi-random sampling, meaning there isn't really any bias towards specific games, and they are probably going to be a reasonable estimation of what the final ranking is going to be like. So last year, you just saw Dragon Ball FighterZ was the most entered game, and this year, currently, it's second from last place, which is a really, really massive drop. And so I kind of want to talk about why that could be happening. It seems a little strange to me. Oh, and also another thing I wanted to show. Here are the registration numbers for Combo Breaker, which is another major tournament, and that's happening in May. That's a lot closer. And you can see here Dragon Ball FighterZ is second from the bottom in this one as well. So this doesn't seem to just be exclusive to EVO, and it also doesn't necessarily have anything to do with how far away EVO is. Like, maybe people are holding off from entering FighterZ because it's far away. No, I don't think that that's the reason either. So why is FighterZ registration numbers going down so much? Why is it all of a sudden becoming one of the less popular tournament games? It's a little bit weird. I thought maybe just fewer people are playing the game, you know, like maybe people played the game a lot last year, but now that it's been out for a while, most of those people have dropped off. But if you look at Steam charts, that's pretty much our only accurate way to get player numbers for fighting games. So we can only look at the PC version of games here. But if we look at Steam charts, the 24-hour peak for FighterZ is 1,600 players, which is pretty decent for a fighting game. Compared to Soul Calibur 6, that has less than half. And Under Night In-Birth, even though it's seen a big spike in players since it's been announced as an official EVO game, that also has less than half the players that FighterZ does. So it seems like general gameplay audiences, like just people, are still playing the game in reasonable numbers. It's doing decently on Steam, for sure, but it seems like the interest in terms of tournament play is dropping off a little bit. So what are some possible reasons for that? Well, I think one thing is that we're in a little bit of like a lull in terms of the game's life cycle. So Season 1 came out, and it was still kind of coasting off of the hype of the game being released in the first place. And I think Season 1, you know, people were really paying attention to everything that happened all throughout Season 1. But now there was a huge gap between Season 1 and Season 2. I think that hurt the game a lot. I think people kind of stopped paying attention because they were just waiting to hear what was going to happen with the game. And now Season 2 has started coming out, but I think a lot of people are a little bit underwhelmed by the fact that Season 2 is only 6 characters, and it seems like they're going to be spaced really far apart. Like, we have heard basically nothing about the second round of DLC characters, so it seems like maybe every round of DLC is going to be like 3 months apart or something insane like that. That is a long time to wait, and people's interest will wane in between those DLC releases. So I think that it's a mistake to make Season 2 smaller than Season 1. I also think it's a mistake to not be open with the release schedule and tell us when we can expect to find out more. And I think it kind of points to a larger issue that they're having kind of with the PR of the game. I just think there is not enough communication. We're in the dark about a lot of stuff when it comes to Dragon Ball FighterZ. Like, we were in the dark about Season 2 for a really, really long time. And then finally they were like, okay, tune in, there's going to be a big announcement. And the announcement was that there was going to be another announcement, and everyone got debated. So the communication is just not where it needs to be. And if I think about a game that I do think has really good communication, the first thing I think of is Tekken 7. I mean, the director of Tekken 7, Harada-san, he is always on Twitter, responding to people's questions, like assuaging people's fears. He is very, very open with everything that's happening with the game. And he is kind of the face of the game, and everyone always knows because Harada-san cares so much and he's paying so much attention to the game, he's not going to let it die, or at least he's not going to leave us without any information for a long time. And it also seems like at almost every tournament, Harada-san will be there and he'll have some kind of announcement about what's coming out with Tekken. Like, Tekken 7 has been out for a long time. What's it been, like 3 years almost now? But they're still keeping people interested because they keep making really good updates and they keep the communication open. And I really, really think we need that with fighters. We just don't know what's going on with the game. We don't know, will Season 2 be the last season? Will there be a Season 3, or will there be sort of like Guilty Gear Xrd Revelator style like new version that's released with new characters added in? We really don't know. We also don't know if there's going to be another patch. Like when the big balance patch came out that did not have any character balance tweaks, it only had system tweaks. A lot of people were under the impression that there would be another patch that had character balance changes, but we haven't heard anything about that. We don't know if there's going to be a character balance patch. We don't know anything. Like, are they going to leave Gotenks alone? Are they going to leave snapback loops as good as they are? Are they going to leave Golden Frieza being like a really useless super because you don't build any meter almost the entire time you're in it? It's a real shame. Like, we really, people want to know what's happening, and I feel like right now we really don't. The communication is just not there the way it needs to be, so I think people have lost interest. I still really like the game, obviously, but I think the future of the game feels very unsure. And I don't think they're going to let fighters fizzle out and die. I don't think they're just going to like stop doing things after Season 2 and not release anything more for the game. I'm sure there's going to be something. The game was massively successful. It sold really, really well, and it did really well critically. So they're not just going to let the franchise die, but we need to know what's going to happen. Like, if you want players to invest the huge amount of time it takes to get competitive at your game and want to enter your game at tournaments, they want to feel confident that that time's not all going to be wasted because, you know, you're just going to like not keep things fresh. You're not going to keep adding characters. And if FighterZ was like it felt like a really complete and like final product, I would feel better about it. But FighterZ feels very much like the first round of a fighting game. It feels like the first game in a series, you know. It's missing a lot of features that other games have had added throughout their series. You know, no selectable assists, not that many stages, not that many characters, stuff like that. So we just want more, and we want communication. But anyway, I feel like I've been ranting for a long time in this video. I'm going to cut it off right there. What do you guys think? Do you guys think FighterZ is still going strong? Do you think the EVO numbers are going to change? Let me know down in the comments, guys. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.